496 Broadway between Blooming Springs. F1.
Our role in the service really is the bridge between the community and the police. We gather the information, we find out what problems there are, and we look for long-term strategies and fixes to complaints from the community, so that when we do get a complaint, we don't continually respond to it and we don't continually have the same issue ongoing. We try and fix that problem so that we don't have to respond to it again because it's not happening. The most rewarding part is when we have that solution, when we no longer have that complaint from the community, when the community is able to say, we now feel a lot safer because we did have this problem, and because of the intervention that the police and the community have worked together on, it's not there anymore and we feel a lot safer.
A traffic officer is responsible for enforcing the traffic laws of the Cayman Islands. We use education as our first tool in the box. So you may see from time to time that we will send out advisories, do programs on radio or television using the various electronic and paper media to get the message out there. And then the final tool in the arsenal is actually the enforcement aspect. We've gone from analog speed measuring devices to laser speed reading devices, and all the officers here in the Traffic and Roads Policing Unit are trained in the usage and operations of those pieces of equipment. I also have officers who are part of the motorcycle unit. I still ride myself, so occasionally you would see me get back on the motorbike and assist where needed.
Have a structured unit with our own aircraft. Some other Caribbean countries utilize either their military, will utilize an independent operator, and pretty much like what we used to do. But I can speak for the other overseas territories. We are the only ones that operate a fully fledged police air operations unit. We intend to operate 2 helicopters, so we'll have the need for a large amount of crew, not only flying crew but other support crew. It is an exciting department to work for. It's really very evident in one of our young officers who you featured recently, Auxiliary Constable Darren McLean. He's great interest and love of helicopters. I believe from his primary school days, that's exactly what he wanted to do. He pursued that dream, but he was given an opportunity that is going to set hopefully a path for anybody else that wants to come in and join.
This is the DJI Matrice 210, and we're using the Zenmuse Z30 camera, which is 120 times zoom. What we tend to use it for in the service mainly is for events such as Kaboo, the ride across Cayman. We also use it for searching reef lines and beaches in the case of a lost swimmer or a lost diver or scuba diver, and we've also been using it for mapping. We can map certain sections of the island. We're not just using it for police role, we also do work for people like Lands and Surveys, Planning Department, Department of Environment, so we're multi-use, pretty much just like the police helicopter is.
become a scenes of crime officer, you have to have a minimum of an associate's degree with at least 3 years experience, and some training within photography is ideal. Some of the equipment that we typically use as a scenes of crime officer is a camera, a fingerprinting kit, alternative light source, a super glue fuming chamber, the IBIS machine, just to name a few. I became a crime scene officer because I wanted to be actively involved in the protection of my community.
I am a scenes of crime trainee. Part of what makes the scenes of crime unit unique is that it may not be as glamorous as it is portrayed on shows such as CSI, and we may not be frontline officers. However, examining scenes and collecting evidence is our way of fighting for justice and peace within our community.
The JMU is the Joint Marine Unit, and it's encompasses the units of the police, customs, and immigration. And together we work to protect the borders of the Cayman Islands. So I chose to become a Marine officer because my history, basically, my grandfather being at sea in old times and listening to his stories growing up with that. Also, it was an opportunity to broaden my perspective and challenge myself in different new ways, and also to work on the vessel that was named after my uncle, which is Nightingale. I would definitely say that it's the frequency of which you can impact somebody's life in this particular environment. That would be saving their lives, because we do search and rescue, and I think for me that is probably the best feeling that I get from doing this job, when I save somebody's life, because I would want someone to save mine as well in that position. We are a country that is known for a rich maritime history, and I think that this is one of the greatest ways to further embrace that history and prolong and see it through to future generations. If you would love to work in a diverse environment and engage yourself in a myriad of ways, I would definitely recommend this environment to you.
CID is a criminal investigation department. My role here as a detective inspector for the department, we investigate serious and complex cases here in CID. We have set of the detectives that actually work here as well. I joined the police department in 1996. Went through the training, and after the training I was posted to uniform in Georgetown. And from there I spent like 1 year or 1.5 years in uniform before I actually transferred to CID here. And I've been with this department now for over 22 years. My reason of joining the police service or law enforcement is to help people, and I believe in justice. Basically, it's justice. That's why I joined the police service.
To become a police officer, I would say, look at what you can do for your society. I am a firm believer that we shouldn't just ride on what society has to offer. We should do our best to be a part of a change. The Cayman Islands and the world is changing. Globalization on a bigger scale, but even in the Cayman Islands, development and so forth. And as part of that process, there must be a law enforcement element. You can be a part of that law enforcement element. That is, and that is the point I want to drive home. Be a part of the change rather than be the observer of the change. From a policing perspective, policing is not going away. I would dare say, obviously, there is always a financial reward. It's not just a job or something that you just put on a uniform. You do have, the perks of being a police officer in terms of obviously getting paid and pensions and so forth, but that's not what it's about. It's actually about coming to work, giving your best, going home and feel satisfied that the same community that you live in, that you have made a difference in making that safe.